I came across this entirely by accident. So a friend of mine on this wonderful community, Jolene Getler, and by the way, if you haven't checked out her books, go and check them out. On the 15th of May, all of her books are free. Go get them. They're here. Go and get them. You won't be disappointed. Anyway, she happened to mention that the arc for this particular book had landed in her inbox, to which I went, I'm sorry, what? How have I missed this? How have I not paid attention to this? Because Shadow Dance is up here. I've been waiting for Spellbound for over a year. How could I possibly have missed it? And as it turned out, I needn't have worried, because CK immediately messaged me and said, if you send me your email, I'll send it to you. So I did. And she did. And I then proceeded to read what is just over 400 pages in less than 24 hours. In 2 hours, I was halfway through the book. Yeah, I mean, you can probably gather that I enjoyed it from that alone. So I'm not going to spoil Shadow Dance if you haven't read it yet. And if you haven't, you really should, because the prospect is unique. I'm not going to spoil Spellbound, obviously, because it's not out for a bit yet. What I will say is this focuses more on the other characters than the first book does, to the point where every chapter or two, the POV changes to somebody else. There were a few times I had to think to myself which character I was reading as, because it happens so often. But the book was so well written that really is, I mean, it's so minute an issue, it may as well be a comma in place of a full stop. That's how much it doesn't matter. There was a lot more focus on Kylun in this book, less so on Garen. And it's darker. It's definitely darker than the first book. It feels a bit more of a slow burn through the first half, and the ending is not what I expected. I expected something different of the ending, but I'm aware that CK is going to be writing standalone novels in this universe. So I suppose to facilitate that, the ending that I expected couldn't really happen. And I get that. But yeah, I mean, the book was very good, very enjoyable. The cover art, as for the first book, is stunning. I mean, look at it. It is gorgeous. The one that I have on my bookshelf of Shadow Dance is a matte hardcover signed edition with all the swag. I will be buying the matching version of Spellbound when it appears on CK's website. So I've got the two matching ones. But yeah, I cannot encourage you enough to go and read Shadow Dance. It's in KU as well, so you know you can read it through that avenue. That's what I did a couple of years ago. And you will probably identify with Saga a lot. I found this in the first book. It took me a while to figure her out, but when I did, I felt like I knew her because I knew a lot of other people who are kind of similar. You know, my wife suffers with anxiety. As you can tell if you've read any of her poetry, you can understand, you can relate to that. And I think a lot of people, the character of Saga is going to hit pretty close to home. So whether you choose to take that as an identifiable character or too close to home, it depends on how you feel, how deep your anxiety and emotions run like that. But she's probably one of the better written characters I've come across in modern literature because she is real. You know, she's a real character. And I gave the book 4.5 stars just because Shadow Dance edged it for me. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to read anything that CK writes at this point. I mean, there are certain authors who are auto-read authors for me. Many more indie than there are trad. I should point that out. I mean, you can see half of them behind me if I take this cover away. You've got CK, You've got Tim Brumbaugh, you've got Natalie Kelder, you've got Ian Benson, you've got Jolene Gettler. There's a host here, G.R. Thomas, Tony Duarte. There's a whole host down here, I should say, in the corner. There's Sarah Rose down the corner. There's Atlas Creed, MT Zimney, TJ Payne. So many authors. There's a bunch more behind me. You've got Alexia, you've got Christian Francis. On the next shelf down, you've got another selection of indies. These are all auto-read authors for me. And CK is one of them. So I will be reading anything that CK churns out. CK, if you're watching this, and you probably will because I'm going to tag you in it. You're welcome. Just automatically assume I want to be on all your ARC teams. In fact, that goes for everybody here. Jolene, Tim, Natalie, everybody. Just assume that I want to be on your ARC team because you're all auto reads at this point. 4.5 stars. Go and read Shadowdance if you haven't already, and you will definitely want to be reading Spellbound.